Hi, 1 Hour Smart Home here, and today we're going to show you how to install an Amazon Basics Smart Switch. And what's great about the Amazon Basics Smart Switch is that it's going to allow you to control it from your phone so you can turn on and off your lights remotely, but it also works with Alexa so you can control it with voice commands. So let's get started installing this Amazon Basics Smart Switch. The first thing that we need to do is make sure that we turn the power off at the circuit breaker. So go down to your electrical panel and turn the power off for this particular switch. Once you've turned the power off at the circuit breaker, you can confirm that the switch no longer has power to it by hitting the light switch and making sure that the lights that are connected to it don't turn on. Once again, we want to make sure we have the power 100% off and it's safe for us to work on, and that means that it has to be cut off at the circuit breaker. So now that we've done that, we can remove these two screws that are going to allow us to take off the cover plate for the existing switch. We got those two screws off, and now we've taken off the cover plate. Now here it's a good idea, if you've got a non-contact voltage meter, check to make sure that power's off once again, or just make sure that you manually check that you've turned the power off at the circuit breaker so that it's safe to remove the switch. And now we're going to remove these two screws that are holding the existing switch onto the junction box. Now that we got the two screws holding the existing light switch to the junction box, we can pull out this light switch and verify the existing wiring. So what we want to do before we remove any of these wires is make sure we take a picture of the existing wiring and how it is wired up, so that if we have any problems, we can refer back to that and see what's going on. Now you can see over here, we've got our ground wire. That's that unshielded copper wire. And then right here, we've got our two wires that go to the existing switch. So up top, what we have is our load wire. And then down below, we have our incoming hot wire or our incoming line wire. We want to make sure that we mark that line wire somehow so we can differentiate it from our load wire up top here. So I've got a little piece of electrical tape here that is marking that. If you don't have that, you should do so you know which wire is which, because that's going to be important. Now the load wire is the wire that goes up from the light switch to the light fixture. The line wire is the incoming power source coming from your circuit breaker down below, wherever that is in your house, into the switch providing the power. And then once this switch is turned on, that power goes up and it goes out through that top load wire to the light fixture. Now, one important thing to note about the Amazon Basics Smart Switch is that it does require a neutral wire for installation. And we do have a neutral wire here. That's this white wire inside the junction box. Typically, homes built after the 1980s are going to have a neutral wire in the switch box. With homes built before the 1980s, it's hit or miss whether you may have a neutral wire in your existing switch box, but it is required for installation of the Amazon Basics Smart Switch. So make sure that you've got that inside your existing junction box. We've got a whole video that helps you identify a neutral wire and tells you what it is, so check that out in the description below. And if you don't have a neutral wire, don't worry, there are other smart switch options that you could install, so we'll link to those below and videos how to do that as well. So now that we've taken a picture of our existing wiring, we can start removing this existing wiring from the existing switch. We do have a neutral wire, this white wire here. It's not connected to the switch in the existing junction box, and that's because this isn't a smart switch and it doesn't require it. However, if you had an existing smart switch in there, it may have the neutral wire already connected, which is nice, but it's real easy to connect, and we're going to show you how to do that. So let's remove the existing wires from the existing switch so we can wire up our Amazon Smart Switch. So to remove your existing wiring, all you're going to do is unscrew these two terminals here if the wires are wrapped around there. So you just unscrew these, loosen them up, and you're going to be able to get those wires off there. Now, if it's back wired, you may need to, there's a little tab in here, push into that tab, and it's going to release the tension on these two wires. So I'm going to push in there on that one and see if we can't get that one to go loose. So we'll push in there. Okay, there it goes. And that loosened that one up. And then down here at the bottom, we're gonna have to push in on that tab as well, and then we can pull that one out as well. So now we've got our 2 wires removed there, and then you've got your existing ground wire here, so just loosen up that screw, which we've already done, and then we can pull that off of here. So now we've got all of our wires removed from the existing switch, and we're ready to install our Amazon Smart Switch. We've got our Amazon Smart Switch here, and it's ready to be wired up. You can see on the back of this, we've got 4 wires here, and it tells you which wire is which. So we've got our ground and green all the way to the left. The next white wire is our neutral wire. Then the black wire is our line wire, also known as a hot wire, and the load wire, that's our red wire on the end. So you're just gonna match those wires up to that picture that we took earlier. So the first wire that I'm gonna connect, just to make it easy, is gonna be my ground wire right here. So you've got the green ground wire from the light switch, and then the green ground wire that's in the switch box, or an unshielded copper wire. So that's this unshielded ground wire right here, and we're gonna wire those 2 up. I straightened the ground wire up a little bit that was coming out of the junction box so that it would be easier to wire these 2 together, put them together, and then just twist with the wire nut until those 2 are secured. So we're just twisting those 2 together, and you can see we've got them nice and secured there. So our ground wire is now connected. The next wire I'm going to connect is going to be my load wire right here, and it doesn't really matter the order that you connect these in as long as you put them to the right wire. So my load wire is this one right here that was unmarked. It's this black wire, and the load wire on the switch is this red wire here. So I'm going to take that red wire and connect it to the load wire, and that is the wire that's going up to our light fixture that this switch controls, and just wire those 2 up. Okay, we've got that nice and connected there. And now the next wire I'm going to connect is my line wire or hot wire. That's this black wire on the switch, and then the black wire that we marked with a little piece of electrical tape right here. And that's how I know that's my incoming line wire or incoming hot wire. And I'm just going to connect these 2 together and wire them up. Now the last wire we have on the switch to connect is this white wire, the neutral wire, and we've got our bundle of neutral wires right here. So in order to connect this one, we're going to take off the existing wire nut from the existing wires in the junction box, and we're going to take our new neutral wire from the new Amazon Basic Smart Switch and wire it up to the neutral wire here in the wall, or the neutral wires here in the wall. So we're just going to get those aligned, and then we're going to take our wire nut and wire all 3 of these together. Now, I was able to get the neutral wires wired together with this orange wire nut that came in the packaging. However, with all 3 wires in there, I don't really like how it's twisting together. So what I'm going to use is a red wire nut, which is just slightly larger, and it's going to help these wire up a little bit better and make sure that they're better protected inside that junction box. So when you go up in different color sizes, they can fit more wires based on their color with electrical wiring. So this red wire nut is bigger than an orange one. Okay, now that we've got those wired up good, and I feel a lot better about that red wire nut, we're going to put these into the junction box, and then we're going to secure the switch into the junction box. So what we got to do here is just kind of fold these wires in place so we can fit the switch inside the existing junction box. Okay, we got all the wires inside the junction box. Make sure that you have the arrow up on the Amazon Smart Switch. And now that we've got it in the proper orientation, we can go ahead and put our 2 screws in here that are going to hold this in place. Inside the Amazon Basic Smart Switch box, they provide us with this cover plate, which will just snap into place. But if you've got an existing junction box or multiple gang junction box, you can put that cover on you had on before, and it can go right on top of this. So we're just going to take our cover plate, make sure that we've got it top up. There's a little symbol up there that says top. So we've got it in the right direction, and we're just going to put it on top of the switch, press down, and push it in place. And now we've got our Amazon Smart Switch installed. We're ready to restore the power down at the circuit breaker, turn this thing back on, and test it out to make sure that it works. Okay, we've got our Amazon Smart Switch installed and powered up. You can see there's a little light on here that is showing that it is powered up, and let's just test it out. Okay, you can see the lights turned on in the room that this is installed in. So now that we've installed this Amazon Smart Switch, let's go ahead and show you how to set it up so that you can control it from your phone or with voice commands using Alexa. Now we're ready to set up and connect the Amazon Smart Switch. To do this, we're going to open up the Alexa app. So you need to have the Alexa app downloaded and installed and set up on your phone, which we've already done. Now it should automatically pop up here if your switch is in pairing mode, which it is with this blinking light. And usually it automatically goes into pairing mode once you turn on the power. But if you have a problem getting it to go into pairing mode, just hold down on the bottom of the switch for 15 seconds. And what that will do is put it into pairing mode so that it will show up on the Amazon app. Now we're going to click continue. It says give the Alexa app permission. We're going to allow. And it says scan barcode. I just click don't have barcode here. It just makes it a little bit easier, and then click next. Now it's looking for my Amazon Basics switch. Now we need to choose our Wi-Fi network and click next. Great, our Amazon Basics switch is connected. Now we're going to click next. Now we can give this a name. We're just going to give this guest room and click add group. Now we're going to click continue. It says our switch is set up and ready to use. I'm going to click done. Now let's look for our switch. So I'm just going to click up here, and this is the switch right here that we just installed. So I can click it and turn it on or off. Now I can also use Alexa voice commands to turn this on or off. So if I wanted to say, Alexa, turn on second switch. Alexa, turn off second switch. So now our Amazon Basics Smart Switch has been set up and installed, and I can turn it on and off from the phone or using Alexa voice commands. I can also change the name or any of the settings by clicking on the gear icon in the upper right. So thank you for watching this video on how to set up and install your Amazon Basics Smart Switch. If you like this video, please give us that thumbs up, subscribe, and click any of the links below. We also have other links showing you how to set up the Amazon Basics Smart Dimmer, so check that out as well. Thank you and see you next time.